Hello, and welcome to another Community Safety and Security Forum. It's second Thursday, and we do this each time at each second Thursday at 8 p.m. in this space where we connect with the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Area 3, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth. But for this episode, we're going to be zoning in on the Clarendon Police Division, looking at proactive violence intervention, a success story. And we have Romario Pusey who will be sharing with us how he made the transition from being unattached to being the holder of a Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Very awesome story, and we are looking forward to hear that story. We have with us Sergeant Willock Gordon, who is joining us from the Community Safety and Security Branch there in Clarendon, having a bit of technical challenges, so you might not be able to see her wonderful face on this space this evening, but we are looking forward to hearing her share, give us some insight as to what the Proactive Violence Intervention Program is all about and how it is that that's been conducted in Clarendon. And then we're going to hear from Romario about his transition and how that program actually helped. I am Winsome Sherrier-Whittle, your host for this program, and it's always a pleasure to have you here, whether you're tuning in live or you're watching the replay, whether you're in Jamaica or you're in the diaspora, wherever you are, always a pleasure to have you here. If this is your first time tuning in, a warm welcome. And for Romario's family and friends who are connecting, warm welcome to you. Remember to subscribe, set your notification, and share so that others can learn from what we share in this space and be inspired by the stories as well. So let's bring on Sergeant Willock Gordon. Let's see what's going on with our connection.
Good evening, Mrs. Whittle.
Great evening. All
And
right.
all our guests on our program this evening. It's certainly a pleasure to be here. Hi, Mr. Romario.
All right, you're not going to be able to hear Romario at this time. Romario is with us backstage, but you'll be seeing him in a little bit on screen. But before we bring on Romario, let's hear what exactly is a proactive violence intervention program. We have been talking about so many different programs that the Jamaica Constabulary Force has that's meant to strengthen community safety, to make us feel more secured in the schools, the communities, all the different spaces. So tell us some more about this particular program. Why the proactive violence intervention?
All right, so the proactive violence intervention strategy is a process through which the chaplaincy services branch, in collaboration with the criminal investigation branch, community safety and security branch, the family liaison officer, and family members and associates of deceased. They would meet immediately after an act of violence. And this is done to reassure the aggrieved parties that the police will be doing everything within their powers to bring the offender to justice. Now, as you know, we have a lot of incidents of crime. And once something happens, there is certain level of panic. Now, the proactive violence interruption strategy is really to bring about some amount of calm. All right, there is there are objectives for this program. In that, the initiative is to reduce serious violent crimes that are happening and which are stemmed from reprisals. So when something happens, we don't want persons to fight back. We are here to investigate. We are here to solve the cases. What we want persons to do is to leave it to the police. We will do the investigation. Another objective is to reduce the loss of innocent lives. We don't want persons to be losing their lives senselessly because persons are acting out of pain and anger. Another objective is for us to enhance the chances of Jamaica to achieve its 2030 vision. And we all know that because all organizations we are working towards that. So once there is a flare up of crime, once there is a shooting or a murder, you will find the JCF coming together and doing the proactive violence intervention strategy. Within this program, we invite our stakeholders in. When we're talking about stakeholders, we're talking about our churches, SDC, Child Protection and Family Service agencies. All our stakeholders will come in. Please remember that this initiative is spearheaded by Chaplaincy Services Branch, and Chaplaincy Services Branch work along with volunteer pastors. So when we go out on these interventions, we have volunteer pastors who come along with us. The first thing that we do after an incident is to identify the crime, identify the crime. Where is this coming from? Is this gang related? Having identified the crime, then we have our investigators who will come in, our investigating officer, to identify the contact information. We also have the family liaison officer and volunteer chaplain, and all of this comes together to make this intervention possible. For us to do a proper intervention, all the parties have to meet. We have to do our briefing. We have to be aware of our environment, what is happening, and how we are going to go about impacting our community. And why we do this? To reassure the victims, to assess in the suppression of the tension. Because once something happens, this is what happens. You'll have tension, you have personal tension. And if individuals have tension, then the community might have that tension. So we have tension in the community. With that tension in the community, it can be escalated. And once it is escalated, then that is where we'll have the reprisals, the shootings, and the killings. So this intervention is to prevent those stuff.
Amazing. A lot going on there. So, and we have quite a number of those incidents, and it's a community coming together from the different groups. All right, let me pause to acknowledge your Bunananas aunt here from St. Thomas, who is joining us. Edward Willocks, welcome. And I take it that this is Romario's bro. Taylor, thank you for tuning in, and for all the others who are with us live. Let me apologize for Sergeant Willock Gordon's video. We've been trying to get it sorted out, but nevertheless, the show must go on, and we have been getting some awesome information there as to the objective of the proactive violence intervention program, how it works, and the people who are involved. All right, so Sergeant Gordon, share with us, because there are times when some of these initiatives are initiated by the police, and there are other times when the police are actually supporting other entities. Tell us about some of the spaces that you work in, and how exactly that works.
Oh, all right. Whenever there's an instance wherein somebody loses their lives, there are different agencies that provide support. For example, Victim Support Services Division, they provide counseling to family members. who are directly impacted by a relative dying or being robbed. So they provide counseling. If it is that they want to do an intervention, they'll invite the police officers along with them. And as a group, we'll go into this community and provide support. In other instances, we want to give a more holistic approach. So there are other organizations that will come on board. For example, when you go in a community, yes, you're going to talk to persons about the issues of grieving and how they can cope in grieving and managing the issues in order not to have escalation and violence continuing. But also, there are some underlying things. Some of these persons are not engaged, they are not gainfully engaged. So, the initiative might be to come along with Harchos, and they will come and provide some information on how persons can get certified. And being certified, they become gainfully employed. So once we're going in, we'll do an assessment as to the needs of the area. And that is another thing, that once you go into a community, you will have to talk to the key persons in the community. You talk to the JP, the pastor, who are the leaders within the community, what are the groups that are in this community. And once you have spoken to those persons, then you'll get the needs of the community. So once you're going in to provide for those needs. Another way that we learn as to what is needed within these communities by having meetings, and we call them the widely publicized meetings. And our acting SSP and our crime officer, our operational officer, the investigating officers, DIU, all of these police agencies and formations will come together, and we'll go into these communities and provide care, all in a bid to prevent a reprisal and to manage the stresses that are there that will lead to a reprisal.
Amazing. And that's a very important point that you mentioned there in terms of engaging the key individuals, entities in this space. Yes, we are so sorry that we're not able to see our beautiful face. Yes, that's how it is with technology. And you made a great point on which we're going to bring in Romario, because that's what happened when Romario was actually engaged. He had gone into his community of Yorktown to do some intervention some years ago. At the time, he was unattached, which means that he was not in school, he wasn't employed, and for different reasons, we have those situations popping up. So, we're going to share afterwards, Sergeant Gordon, if there are other instances other than Romario's that you're aware of. But for now, let's bring him in to hear his story. I'm sure a lot of the viewers are here to hear Romario's story. Romario, Pusey,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you very much, Mrs. Witter. Good evening.
All right, it's great to have you. All right, so the Clarendon Police Division, they were in your community some years ago doing one of these interventions. So tell us what happened on that occasion and how you were able to benefit from the team being in your community.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Witter. First, let me just say good evening to Mrs. Gordon, and also good evening to the many viewers who joined, just to show their support. And as it relates to your question, oh, what a story. What a lovely story that was. So what I can remember on that day, it was sometime in 2013, I believe. So on that day, I was actually hanging out with friends because, like the daily routine, I'm not in school. So the daily routine was just to burn time, just to be at the ball ground by 5 p.m. in the evening. So anything constructive throughout those period, we will do that until it is football time. So on that given day, in the morning, I was on the road with a friend. His name is Odin. And we were walking, and then there was this guy. He's a very popular person in the community. You know, he's well known. His name is Mr. Paisley. So Mr. Paisley said to me and Odain that the police will be having a meeting at the United Brethren Church, so we should show up. And we laughed. Well, we said yes, we will go. But when he drove off, me and Odin, we said that we will not be there. And then in the afternoon, we were on the road again, and that very same person, he drove past once more. Well, he slowed down and said, ensure that you guys go to the meeting today. And we say, yeah, man, we'll be there, man. You know, in Jamaican term, yeah, man, we're going to do it. So look at Odain again and laugh because we know that we're not going to be there. So, you know, the day transition, we ended up at a house. And funny enough, we ended up at Mr. Paisley's baby mother. That was my cousin Nikki, and we were just there for the day, picking ackee and just having a little chat, holding a vibe. And then out of nowhere, I believe I got a phone call. When I got this phone call, I believe the person was Cadian, and she was saying that Mario, someone from NCU wants to speak with me. So I said, NCU. I said, brother, NCU in a Christian school, not interested. That's what me and Odin was saying. So then they started to call and call again. And then they were saying, hurry up, Mario, they're about to leave. Hurry up, they're about to leave. So my cousin said to me, just go and find out what's up, you know? So I pretty much jogged out of the yard because where I was about like maybe 10 minutes from where my district is. So I jogged, you know, I went to my house. When I got there, I believe the bicycle wasn't there. So I had to walk out. When I walk out on the road, the very same person, Mr. Paisley, I saw Mr. Paisley, and Mr. Paisley told me some very colorful words and tell me to get in the car. And then he stepped on the gas. We reach up by the church, and when we got to the church, I met this lady from NCU. They were there with the police officers, and her name was Dr. Grace Kelly. So Dr. Grace Kelly walked up to me, and you know, she asked me like, how many CXCs, how many capes do you have? I said I have 9 CXCs and you know 8 capes, Unit 1 and Unit 2. And she looked at me seriously and she said, pack your stuff and come back to NCU with me. I smiled. You know, I like to smile. So I said, honestly, I have no objection to that, but I just have to get permission from my mom. So when I went around to the house, um, I let my mom know what happened, and instantly she started packing stuff and cleaning stuff and getting me prepped to be at NCU the next day. And that's when the entire journey started. And it was trust me, it was a ride from there. It was indeed a journey.
Wow. Wow, you couldn't have gotten any plainer than that, right? So many different individuals. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah,
your
yeah.
time.
Trust me, it was because even at the church, I believe that they asked, like, is there any youth in the community that we could help? And I believe that everyone was shouting, Mario, Mario, Mario. You know, so, you know, God was really moving on that day because it's really, you know, it's really not by my might or, you know, all the good works that I've been doing, but it's really by the grace of God because it's indeed a blessing just to have this moment. You know, I didn't plan for it. You know, I turned down the offer twice. And even when I got the phone call and they said NCU, you know, I was really not interested, you know, in going to NCU, though I didn't have a choice to go where I want, even though I didn't have the option to go where I want to go, you know, because I watched my friends went off to university in Kingston, but based on the fact that, you know, I wasn't so fortunate based on how the system is set up, you know, parents didn't have the money to fund the education. And plus, I had a sister, Vanessa. She was doing university at the time. So I told my mom that, you know, just focus on Vanessa and I'll find a different way. So I was just doing construction and whatever that comes, I'll just latch onto it and get it done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even with all those subjects. And this is
Even
one of the
always.
yes, this is one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have for the youth that are just in the communities.
Yeah.
It's just those who did not do well in high school, not so. They're different situation. And Romario's story is an eye opener in that there we have young people who are sitting down because of the lack of funding. But
True
there are
that.
so many different options that are available. There are scholarship opportunities.
Mhm.
Weren't you exposed to any of those, Romario? What happened in that?
So,
Yeah.
so I applied for UE. I got through, and I believe I write quite a few. I wrote quite a few letters, send them out, but I didn't really get any feedback as it relates to scholarship. And then what I've learned is that most of the scholarship they actually fund you when you actually start. So that's what I get to understand. So it was not until I was able to start university that I realized that there were so many access to like scholarships and various government grants, and even persons who are on path programs, like
Yeah.
persons from my community, Yorktown. There are quite a few persons on path programs, and most persons don't really tap into those funds that are available to like many individuals, because most persons in our area, they're on that program. So there are actually benefits when they go to university. And I have applied for like jobs, Jamalco, the army, and everything was just a rejection. Everything was just a rejection. So what I had to do was, so the life Yorktown is full of, not just Yorktown, like all of those communities in Jamaica where the crime is rampant. It's actually very fertile as it relates to talent. And me at the time, like, I was very strong-willed, so no one cannot influence me to do what I don't want to. So how I had to spend my days just to burn time, play football. Whenever I leave the ball ground, I just leave home, feel some high level of emptiness. But at the end of the day, that I know that maybe the time will come, but it's just not my time as yet. So that's how I look at life. And that was just the focus, because I know that something will come. I just don't know when. I just have to just continually go through the phase until that better arrived.
Amazing. Some amazing stuff. And for viewers,
Yeah.
this is exactly where this program actually started in 2021. Opportunities for high school leavers, because I had the opportunity to engage with a number of young people who were coming out of high school, who had, the parents didn't have a clue where next to go. And so we had the different entities sharing. As you said, there are a lot of programs that are available through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, through
Yeah.
HEART, and the different institutions, different scholarships that are available. And now you're seeing more of them because of
Yeah.
the social media space and all of that. And a lot is more are being shared now in different WhatsApp groups and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to take advantage of that. Amazing. Yes, so we're definitely, yes, X Factor is definitely a good look. All right, but we have so much more to share. We're not going to be able to cover everything here, but I'm sure you're going to be seeing Romario's full story in a number of other places, because it won't stop here. We're going to
Yeah.
make sure
This
that.
is, just to
Go
point
ahead.
something out. Like when I actually when I went to NCU, I worked on campus from October to December. And so that was really the aim. The objective was to accumulate funds to start class in January 2014. So January 2014 arrives. So I was staying on the dorm, and I was working on campus. So it's Jamaica, and like the wage wasn't so good, but it was doing something. But still, it wasn't enough to pay tuition fee. So January comes, and then it was time to get registered for a class. So when I check my account, because each student has an account, they use their ID number as their account. So when I check my account, I realized that I have a dorm fee, which was like 90 something thousand dollars. And then I had when I selected my courses, the fee was about maybe 300 and maybe 200 and something thousand dollars. So I was like, why are they charging me? The reason why I wasn't in university was based on the fact that I didn't have the money. And best believe you, so I reached out to Dr. Grace Kelly, and I was saying like, Dr. Grace Kelly, I'm realizing that they actually charge me for the dorm, and they are actually like billing me for the courses as well. So Dr. Grace Kelly, she told me blatantly that, Romario, God will work things out. And this is not a case where, I will spoon feed you. What I say, Dr. Grace Kelly, um, but remember my situation from Yorktown. She said, yes, don't worry about the situation. You'll get registered for your courses, but like God, just trust God that He will unlock certain doors for you so you can do cover whatever bills that you're supposed to cover. So I moved by faith, and during that time now, Dr. Grace Kelly, she connected us with National Youth Service. She also connected us with National Commercial Bank, and she connected me with Jamvat. So throughout my tenure in university, I had to use I used scholarship to fund my entire tenure at university, and I believe I probably used one semester. I used 2 semester from money made from work and travel, and then mind you, when I graduated with the school with NCU owing me money at the end of everything. They owed me money. And believe you, as I said, what you work on campus cannot really do much, but it's just to have you in the system. And I was not just a student. I was playing football, I was instructing labs, and I was also working as a receptionist at another office on campus. So I was doing so much at the same time and still getting good grades, still being on dean's list, honors roll, all of those stuff. So it was indeed a journey, and on that journey, I have to say thanks to Mrs. Pauline, Dr. Pauline Gale Benton, um, Mr. Stephen Peart, and I even remember, I just want the people to know this. I even remember the first house that I was staying, it was a very small house, like a very small room I had to share with someone. And the beds were basically kissing. And it was in front of a pit. And literally, me and that roommate, we used to play football with cockroach because we had no control of cockroach rising up out of those pits. And it was either to stay in Manchester or to go back to Yorktown. And when I had a quick glance of the light, and just having a little expansion of the mind, I realized that it is really better to be in Manchester because we're from Yorktown. We can ride out any storm. As is almost any youth from communities that they would classify as, like um, ghetto, volatile, all of those stuff. I believe that, like we are the string and strength of Jamaica, and so much fertility comes from those areas. So the journey was indeed a journey. There's so much more that I haven't made mention of, but it was indeed a journey. It was even in America right now as well. It is indeed a journey.
Right. We're gonna get to that part. So, what did you study at NCU?
I did biological sciences.
Okay. Was that your original area of focus? Was that what you wanted to do?
I wanted to go to med school at UA. So the sciences was my thing. So yes, it's my original area of focus.
Okay, just a different area. Yeah. So, what happened after you left NCU before you moved on to where you are now?
So
Give
after
us a
after I left,
synopsis of what happened and how you got into the MS
yeah.
biomed program.
So after I left NCU, um, I literally like worked for 3 weeks at the call center, and then I realized that this is robbing my freedom, and I like to be free. I don't like to be confined to a system that will not allow any type of freedom of mind, freedom of movement. So didn't really like the system there, so I stopped. So now I was back in Yorktown, and I was pretty much buying the Gleaner every Sunday, just applying for jobs. But really and truly, a little opportunity came up, and that was to play Major League Football for Yorktown. I actually loved that opportunity, but mommy and daddy never really liked the idea of me like playing football, especially due to the fact that Yorktown is violent. Persons died on the football field while playing football. So I was loving it though. I was playing football. I was happy with that. But I ended up receiving a call from Bustamante High School, and then I went to the interview. To be honest though, I did the interview just to do the interview, not really to get the job, to be honest. So I did the interview, and like less than an hour after leaving the interview, I got called, said I got the job. You know, I had to act as if I was happy so mommy can be happy, because mommy don't like the idea, as I said, of me playing football. So I did that, was teaching for 2 years. And then again, I don't like, it's not fulfillment to be teaching. I don't feel happy. I feel like there is some level of emptiness. So I was trying to fill that gap. So I said, all right, I just need a foot in the USA. Then from there, I can do whatever I want to do. And so I said, all right, some persons are going up on their visitor's visa and then, they disappear. We don't see them again. So I said, all right, I'm gonna do school, and then that's gonna be my footing, and I'm still gonna have my freedom of movement. So applied for school, and I applied for school. I got through with school, but not just that though. COVID hit, and during that period as well, my brother was murdered. My brother was murdered in Treadlight, and that slowed me down mentally. So I had to like rethink. I was wondering if I should stay in Jamaica or should I quickly leave Jamaica, because Mrs. Gardner mentioned something about grieving. Um, I didn't know much about grieving because death was never at my doorstep. It was always people around me dying, even in Yorktown. Those persons I play football with, you know, persons up the road, but it has never reached my doorstep. So I took a few days from Bustamante High School, rethink life. I was really tried. I was really pushed to, as Mrs. Gardner would say, to retaliate, but God stepped in, and I realized that if I go down that road, if I went down that road, then there wouldn't be a life to live, because there's no living if I choose that direction. So I said, all right, I'm just gonna focus on building myself, and the best thing to do is just to leave Jamaica and just focus on my studies and just better myself, And so that's what I did. It wasn't an easy road because I'm leaving Jamaica. Just buried my brother, like January 2020, I believe it's 2021, and then know about to leave Jamaica. Like a lot of things, a lot of things going through my mind. It was quite an experience. It was quite a journey. So that was the motivation. My brother was the biggest motivation to leave Jamaica. My brother that passed away.
Wow.
Mm.
Quite a story, and the way you handled it though, because not many young people will stop to actually process the information and use it to make
Sure.
a decision as to where you want to see yourself going. So that is really commendable, the
Sure.
way that you processed it. And
Sure.
as you mentioned earlier, the mind is a
Yeah.
very powerful tool. And that's what happened. Once you start using the mind in a positive way, then
Mm-hmm.
you're able to make those kind of informed decisions. But the journey for the MS wasn't an easy one at all.
That's
Without getting into the personal side, share
mm-hmm.
with us how you were able to navigate that in terms of financially and all of that, to know a recent graduate. Let me
Yeah.
say congratulations
Thank you
publicly.
very much.
Really proud of you.
Thank you very much. All right. So that was it was a teamwork. It was my niece in Canada, Melissa Needham, my dad, my mom, Roy and Kathleen Pusey, my sister Vanessa, sister Anisha, brother Jermaine Christian. So it was really family coming together. So that was the positive out of the death of my brother. It was just family working together. Carrington Pusey, as I said, Jermaine Christian, my brother in UK, Tashaya, and we just collaborate and just make it a reality. But mind you, I left Jamaica with like $100,000. That was like 100,000 Jamaican dollar. That's less than That's less than $600. That's not $1,000 at the time. That's like 2021. So I left Jamaica with faith more than money. So I had more faith than money. And then when I got to USA, a family member of mine, she made a commitment to send $1,000, for every month until she pledged for a year, and then she continued for the 2 years. And then I was also a research assistant on campus. I was running a lab by my professor, Dr. Amawako. It was the biomedical lab. So I was also working in that lab, getting funds. And then overall, it was just the mercy of God that guided me through, you know what I mean? And I even ended up finishing my degree, getting the most outstanding biomedical engineering student at the University of New Haven in Connecticut. So it was really teamwork, and moreover, it was just the mercy and grace of God that led me through. A lot happened, as you said, Mrs. Witter, that but we won't touch those right now. That's for the future. So we'll just save those for later.
That's right, because you've got to tell the full story at some point, so that because that's what it means to be the light.
That's true.
To actually help to pilot others so that they too can find their way to where it is that they're intended to be. Really amazing story, Romario.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Witter.
Amazing story. And all right, so we have a lot of support here, a lot of support coming in.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for supporting Romario. And we have a question here. Edward Willocks wants me to ask you what you want to say to our youth today. Of course, we got to share. That's why we're here, to make sure that we inspire others. So what would you say based on your story to the youth?
Well, what I'd say to the youths in Jamaica and all across the world is just to believe, believe in themselves, believe in their potential. Because as people always say, it is not where you're coming from, but it's where you're going. And it's just the faith. It's just the faith, just the faith. Because if you don't have something to hold on to, then trust me, you're going to make decision that will pretty much lead you down the wrong path. So you have to just trust God, trust a higher power. Because even our reggae or musicians speak about it, like have faith, believe. Like even in dancehall music, there's so much gospel. So just believe in yourself, and then from there, everything else is possible. So anything that you conceive in your mind, then trust me, you can reach to it. Remember, them say imagination is a preview of life's coming attraction. So just believe and reach for it, and then that is it. It's very simple. Just believe. Even though the journey might be rough, a guy said sometimes slow is fast, because when you reach there, you're going to actually have it to hold on to. It's not going to be short-lived. So just believe. Simple. Just believe.
Simple, but very powerful. Very, very potent. Simple. Yeah. Just believe. And you mentioned earlier the family unit coming together. And it's not about them coming together in terms of putting financial support together. That's a part of it, but we all need that extra word of encouragement along the journey, right?
So true.
Yes. I love that. Very powerful, because sometimes we make the mistake, I don't have the money, so you might just stay in your little corner. No, but there are days when we are going on empty and we need that word, right?
Yeah, when I don't have the money nowadays, I just laugh, I just laugh, because it will come, it will come.
That's the power of belief,
yeah.
And not just believing, but taking action too, because you could have sat in Yorktown believing until 2023,
but my inaction,
that first step, right?
But my inaction, my inaction led me to take action, because remember, I was told twice. And then even when I got the call, NCU in a Christian, so still, there was a lot of, Oh my
Wow.
God.
I hope you all are taking notes, because I'm latching on to some of these gems. All right. So Romario said he left with more faith than money, and his inaction led him to taking action. And
Mm.
look where that action got you. Master of Science, Biomedical Engineering.
Amen.
The future is bright. But not only that, you and a couple of your teammates, you had
Mhm.
gone on to was it some competition that you did earlier this year?
Yeah, we actually entered quite a few competition. We entered competition. I believe my professor is here as well. So big
Oh,
up, professor.
hi,
Um,
Professor.
so I went to, well, we submitted an abstract during COVID at the Ivy League University. That was, I believe that was Columbia University. And we had like two research abstracts from our lab, and they both got accepted. And I was a part of those work, both of those work. And then it was recently I did a speech based on works that we did in our lab at Harvard University, pretty much focusing on the artificial lung. Um, what else? So very next week we have a oral presentation in California where we'll be focusing on more works that we did on the artificial lung. So we've been very very active, and I've been very busy at school, not just for myself as well. I've been helping a lot of students. When I came to America, I saw persons with a laptop and all those stuff, and everybody looks so smart. And I was like, whoa, this is it. This is the real life. This is what I see in the movies. And then funny enough, those same smart persons, I was the one who was helping them with their work. So it's weird. So it's just God's blessing. I have to give God the praise, because in isolation, all you have is God. Trust me. And just a few real people will reach out to you. So that's pretty much it, Mrs. Witter. We've been very active, and we're always working on something. We're always doing something.
Oh, the power of belief. Oh, so powerful, right? And I'm sure that we're going to be hearing bigger and better things coming out of all of this, because God's not through with you yet.
I believe.
Amen. All right. Thank you so much. If there's anyone who is with us live and you want to ask Romario a question, go ahead and put it in the comments quickly so we can hear more from Romario. But we're going to bring on Sergeant Will Gordon at this time. Don't go anywhere, Romario.
No problem.
Going to be right back to close out. All right. What a story. Please ensure that you share the link so those who are not able to join us live can actually learn some things from Romario, because there are a lot of young people who are struggling, and not so young people who are struggling and thinking that you need to have the money in hand in order to make something of your life. Not so at all. Not so at all. All right, Romario, with God, all things are possible. Not some things, but all things. Prayers are with you. All right. Sadie Rose is asking, all right, let me bring on back from Mario. When are you running for MP?
Mrs. Witter.
But I'm just sharing what Sadie Rose is asking. So she must know something that I don't know about.
No, man. The focus is on science right now.
All right. All right, Sadie. So we never know what will happen in the future, but for now, we'll let him just get his feet firmly grounded in the sciences and make some money,
Most
and then
definitely.
come back home to help us build a better Jamaica. All right, awesome. All right, Sergeant Willett Gordon. Let's see if I can get your picture up. There we go. All right, Sergeant.
I'm right here.
What a story.
What a powerful story.
Huh?
It's so amazing.
Yes. And I'd love to share that Romario was actually introduced to this program by DSP Owen Brown, the head of the Clarendon Police Division. And when we see our police putting these young people in the fore, seeking to give them a platform to share their story, I believe it's very commendable for the team, Sergeant Gordon. And I want to encourage you all to continue to do the awesome work that you're doing, because this is a side of policing that I got a glimpse of, and I want more people to see, because we're seeing a lot of things in mainstream media about what the police are doing wrong, what they're not getting right. But we want to make sure that others are able to see this side of community policing.
Yes, ma'am. And I know DSP Brown and other members of the Clarendon Division, and by extension, the JCF is they're on the program and they're listening, and shout out to the team. It's so important, when the question is asked, how do we stop the cycle of crime? It is instances like these when you go into communities and you have interventions and you see lives literally change. You know that Jamaica is not lost. Each of us have a role to play. Romario spoke about NCU and how they came on board and changed his life forever. And that's what we ask of our citizens. Each person on any given day, give the best of you, and we'll see a different tomorrow. When we go into these communities, it is not just the families that are initially impacted or those that are grieving, but every single person within this community. Why? Because they are Jamaicans, and it is said that all lives matter. So as we move forward with our intervention, it is our belief that once something happens, we must have our mobile teams out, our foot patrols, our investigators, so that we can impact the communities. Not only that, we're not just for community meetings, we do house to house visits. So when we go into the communities, we stop at individual houses and we have conversation to know what is happening here. And from those conversations, then we form relationship with persons. Numbers are exchanged, and from that we can build a community relation with our citizens. They share information and we work with the information shared, all because they want to build a better Jamaica. I am so proud of Romario. There are a lot of Jamaicans that have a story to share, but let me tell you, man, this is one story that a lot of youth and especially young men need to hear. The guns are there, but they don't have to take them up. It's a choice. It's a choice. If each person make the right choice, then we have many Romarios.
That's right. That's right. Always a choice. And he mentioned something very powerful, as that he is not the one that will be led by others. And
Yep.
that's a very powerful, powerful, powerful statement, because that's part of the challenge we have, where we have a number of our young people who are ready to be to follow others instead of
Mhm.
being leaders and leading their own lives and moving. It is just such an amazing story, and I am seeing different platforms that Romario will be sharing on, so that his story will reach much further. Uh, your auntie giving you some really good. It's good when you have, it's not good, it's great when you have good family support. And it's amazing when we have a number of individuals sharing in this space. This support, local and international, always an awesome sight to behold. Sergeant Gordon, again, let me commend the team there in Clarendon. I have to talk about Clarendon because that's the space that I'm familiar with, and I see the work that you do, and the representation in the different spaces, how the different agencies come together when we have these different things happening. The Lay Magistrate Association, the JP Association and the different entities, interagency network going into some of these communities when we have these incidents taking place. And it's just a great look, and we just all need to continue to work together to make Jamaica better. All right. It's now less than 10 minutes to the top of the hour. What an awesome time when we have in this space. Share with us, Sergeant Gordon, what's coming up next for Clarendon Division in the community safety and security space.
All right, I'm extremely excited about this. The law enforcement torch run for Special Olympic in Jamaica will be coming up. One would ask, what is this? All right, so our Special Olympians, they normally travels and they participate in athletics, and they normally do extremely well. In order for our athletes to have this opportunity, the JCF has a torch run, and this year we'll be having a 5K run also. Now, what is the torch that we're talking about? It is the torch represent the flame of hope for the Special Olympians. And I want you all to know that the JCF is the guardian of this hope. So the torch run is basically to raise funds and to make persons aware of the Special Olympians. Now, persons with special needs or intellectual challenges, you might not look on them and know that they have challenges, but these are some of the brightest spirit persons. They are always smiling and they are ready to give, and we want to help our athletes to be able to participate. As such, we are doing this fundraiser. Now, the torch will be in Clarendon on the 4th of July. Now we'll be having 2 spots set up within the township where when persons can come and make their donation. If you want to enter the 5K, it's $2,000 per person to enter. We're inviting our corporate sector, our schools, our groups to come on over, partner with us. It is not just the JCF that is doing this, but earlier I said that the law enforcement. So we have customs, PICA, fire department, correctional. We are partnering with each other to ensure that our athletes participate, and when they go, they are comfortable in doing so. If you have any questions, you can always come to the Maypen Police Station, come up to Community Safety and Security Branch, and we fill you in. Now, Clarendon, we want you on board. When the 4th of July comes, I must see Clarendon out, because we will be showing Jamaica that we care about those that need our help, and we are here to help them. Now, when we talk about the 5K will be on the 16th of July, and that will be in Kingston. Corporate Jamaica, schools, churches, you are all invited. So that's the biggest thing that is happening now.
All right. So we want to make sure we get those flyers up and circulating and the registration going. And the people like myself have to start doing some stretches and practicing the run. All right. But I'm sure we're going to get a lot of support. I love the spirit that's coming alive in Clarendon. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff there. All right. And Romario, let me bring you back in so you can share. But before you share, Sergeant Gordon, is there anything else you want to leave with our viewers for this month?
As a division, we continue to have challenges when it comes to crime. We're asking all our citizens, law-abiding citizens, let us all come on board. Crime is everybody's business. Don't wait until it gets to your door. If you know something, let it be known. There are avenues for you to communicate that which you know without your identity, you can call 119-811-311. Get the information out. The police, we're here to work with you. And as much as possible, we want everybody, small, big, whoever, you need to know that each of you have a responsibility to tell what you know, because crime is everybody business and we want a safer space. My SSP would normally say to make Maypen a playpen. That's what we want to do.
Oh, it's a good spin. That's a good spin. All right, awesome. Romario, you have some people that you wanna thank.
Yeah,
Go
sure.
right ahead.
So firstly, I must say thank you, Mrs. Witter, and thank you, Mrs. Gordon, for being so informative and sharing such powerful words as well. I hope that the citizens in Clarendon will adhere and be moved by your words and actually become more supportive of what you guys are doing, because as you guys can see right now, I am a powerful testimony to what Jamaica Constabulary Force has been doing. So just get on board, guys. And the crime in Jamaica is rampant, so we should definitely help to bring it down. I want to shout out, all of my supporters who are here. My mom and dad. There are so many persons, but I also have to say, thanks to Mr. Thomas, that's my JP from Yorktown, and thanks to Mr. Brown, who has been, texting, calling, staying abreast and, just staying in touch. Thank you very much for what you guys did. And I also would like to say thanks to, my sister, Vanessa and Ranisha. They're some of my biggest supporters, and want to say thanks to Danica and Prophet Taylor. That is it. So, and thank you guys for all your support, Carrington, everybody. Yeah, blessings.
Everybody, that's a good caveat because I don't want you getting into trouble, because you're leaving out some some people. But awesome story. Yes, well said, Anissa. Yes, awesome story. Thank you, Angela Willock, for the correction. And make sure that we get it right going forward. 2 hours for Marine. All right, got that. All right, thank you again, Sergeant Willock Gordon. It's always a pleasure having you and the team sharing in this space. We learn so much each time you come on and share, and we get to experience a different side of policing, which is what this space is all about. Romario, thank you for your awesome story. And we're definitely staying in touch because we want to make sure that we continue to inspire others to move forward and to ensure that their inaction leads to them taking action. All right.
Definitely.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much. And just to remind you all that we connect in this space every Thursday at 8 p.m. and we look at different topics each week. So for third Thursday, we are going to be focusing on another area. For Thursday, you don't want to miss our counselors update. We are still in Northern Clarendon, and we're going to be hearing from 2 of those counselors there as to what they're doing in this space and what it is that they are intending to do to make their divisions better. And we want to hear your questions, your comments, your concerns. So we want to make sure you subscribe and set your notifications so that you can stay informed of what is going on in this space. We do Culture Corner on first Thursday, but the schedule is coming up that you can see. I thank you again all for tuning in. For those who are able to join us live and for those who are watching the replay, thank you also. Hope you'll be able to join us live next time and you'll be able to ask your questions to our guests live in this space and get your responses. Thank you all and do have a good night. And remember, you can follow Serenity Resource Connector on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we are TikToking. So you want to follow us. Yes, X Factor, Clarendon Police doing well indeed. All right, have a great night. Stay safe. For those of you who are in Jamaica, please stay out of those flooded areas. Right? So we want to make sure that you stay with us. All right. Blessings and plenty love.